Welcome to video 3, where we will be again reading Fish Cheeks, and this time looking for key events. We're really going to be reading for plot. So if you would, think about what key events are. So maybe the main events, the big action words, the main key things that happen in a story that really move the storyline along. So go ahead and take a minute and read through the story and even listen to it if you'd like to listen to it, and then come back here and we will look for key events. Okay, let's go ahead and look at our plot mountain. This is a drawing, and I just created it in Google Draw and inserted it. I used these little lines to create my mountain, and then I went and put text boxes in certain places around the mountain, and I did that by clicking text box and drawing a text box. For example, I'm going to label this plot diagram, just like that. But I already have several text boxes already created in here. So let's go ahead and save and close this and go back up. We know that we are looking for exposition. What would fall in the category of background for this story? So let's pay attention first to the exposition. The beginning, I fell in love with the minister's son the winter I turned 14. He was not Chinese, but as white as Mary in the manger. For Christmas, I prayed for this blonde-haired boy Robert and a slim new American nose. Okay, so key background might be right here. I fell in love with the minister's son the winter I turned 14. Additionally, we have this paragraph. When I found out that my parents had invited the minister's family over for Christmas Eve dinner, I cried. What would Robert think of our shabby Chinese Christmas? What would he think of our noisy Chinese relatives who lacked proper American manners? What terrible disappointment would he feel upon seeing not a roasted turkey and sweet potatoes, but Chinese food? So both of these really give us some background as to what's going on and a little bit about the speaker. So the inciting incident would really be her finding out that her parents have invited the minister's family over. So let's go down to our plot mountain and let's go ahead and label some parts. Since we know that this is exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and this is what's commonly called the resolution. There is a French term for it, but I'm not going to pronounce it here. So let's go ahead and go to what would be our background. And I've got some already typed up here. So I've put very simply, Amy crushes on Robert, and Robert's family is invited to Christmas dinner. Keeping it very objective and just giving you what's happened. So we've got a little bit about the background and the inciting incident. So let's save and close and go back and look at the next paragraph. So in here, the next paragraph, Amy is really listing the foods that her mother is preparing for the dinner, and she calls it a strange menu. So let's go back down and put in our first event. And we're going to call it Amy's mom makes weird food for dinner. Now keep in mind, we know because we've read it that these are really Amy's favorite foods. So keep in the back of your head, who thinks this food is weird. Next, we have Robert's family and the Chinese relatives arrive. That one's pretty straightforward. Let's go back to the text and see if we can figure out what the next one will be. So everybody arrives, they ignore each other, and here's a really interesting paragraph. She starts out by letting us know she's about to get more and more upset, and then she goes back and forth listing what's happening. Her relatives lick their chopsticks and stick them into the food. Robert's family is trying to wait patiently. Her relatives are making a lot of noise and excitement because they're excited about the whole steamed fish. Robert, on the other hand, makes a face that lets us think he thinks it's disgusting. Her father pokes out the fish cheek, and then she wants to disappear. So there's kind of a back and forth here as far as what her relatives do and then what Robert does, what her relatives do and then what Robert does. So let's kind of sum all of that up into one event, shall we? Oh, I've got reminders. So going back to our events, we can kind of sum that up to say she's embarrassed about how both cultures are acting very differently. Her parents and family act very differently than Robert's parents. So next we have the next paragraph when her father goes ahead and belches loudly because that's important for his culture. It's how you show you're satisfied. It's a way of thanking the cook. However, their guests don't normally do that, and so the minister tries to burp as well so that he can also show how grateful he is for the food to Amy's mom. And right here is our climax. Amy is stunned into silence for the rest of the night. So let's kind of go down and sum that one up. So we have Amy's father and the minister both burp at the table, and that shocks Amy into temporary silence. All right, our next paragraph is her mother giving her the early gift and teaching her how she expects her to behave. She shouldn't have shame about who she is. She should be proud. So let's sum that up down below in our plot mountain. So we have everyone leaves. Mom gives her an early present and tells Amy to be herself. So all we have left is our final paragraph. So let's go up to our final paragraph. And even though I didn't agree with her then, I knew that she understood how much I had suffered. It wasn't until many years later that she could really appreciate the mom's lesson. For Christmas Eve that year, the mom had chosen all of her favorite foods. So let's go down and sum up our resolution down here, making it our final entry. Amy learns to love herself as she is. Okay, so we have our well-labeled plot mountain here. Our next task is to take a stab at what we think the theme is and to list what events caused us to think that's the theme. So you could say, given how the mom gives Amy a present and that helps Amy to feel better, the theme could be give gifts. Giving gifts help people feel less sorrow, or maybe give a gift, make people feel better. Given how everyone acts at the table, the takeaway could be one should never invite their crush over for family dinner, right? I don't think that those are the theme. I'm just giving you an example of how you could use events to come up with a theme. So go ahead and put your theme here. And then finally, you're going to choose 10 words that you think sum up the story. So you're really going to write a summary in 10 words. Some important words might be Amy. We might want to include something about Amy. We might want to include something about Robert. We might want to include something about embarrassment. So you keep going on that train of thought and really consider what are some key words that would sum up this story. Okay? Thank you so much, and come back for video 4 when we talk about the characters.